Good morning. I am up early and going to visit my parents this morning. I I've been watching some of the blowback from the recent elections on YouTube. I think they're you know, these elections have gotten a little too emotional for some people. I you know, it's funny. I would have hated it. I would not have been happy if Kamala had won. I did vote for Donald Trump. I'll let y'all know that. If you voted the other way, that's okay. I that's okay. I respect everybody's thoughts. I don't understand it, considering what we've been through the last 4 years. For me, this was an easy choice. I saw the way I don't think Kamala really had the skill set, the knowledge to handle the complexities of the presidency in terms of managing the economy, in terms of the foreign affairs, all of that. So I feel better with Trump being in there in regards to that. I also knew the border situation wouldn't be fixed, and it would probably have gotten worse under Kamala. But so that's the main reason. For me, it was really a no-brainer. I mean, I lean conservative anyway, but I'm watching some of the reaction. But the day that the election happened, I felt very calm. And it was unusual because in 2020 and 2016, I was probably a little more emotional, more really gung-ho about who was elected those years than I was this year. And I think what it is that the country, the problems that are impacting our country are bigger than any one man. President Trump, I think he's a great leader. I think there's a lot that he can do positive for the country. But one person isn't going to fix all this. No one person could fix the problems that we've got unless Jesus Christ comes back to earth. And but I think that's what it would pretty much take right now. I'm not, it's a morale, it's a moral. I think back to the United States where families, went to church every Sunday, where families would gather at the dinner table and have a prayer before they ate their dinner. I think back to an America, and it's like that America is just pretty much gone. It's like it's almost gone, and we're seeing it. I mean, a lot of the negative aspects of America is because we've let a lot of these traditions pass away, and it's not good. I don't think it's healthy for our country, the direction we've been going for most of my life. Really. I've been reflecting a lot about that recently, and in my own personal life, there's things I could have done better in my own personal life in regards to all of this, looking back on it. I got married early and tried to have that life. I don't know, something's changed. Something has changed about all of that. I have my own personal reasons, but I went through a divorce, and it didn't work out. Many reasons for that, but so I mean, I'm not anyone to criticize but any one person. But the trend, and what I can criticize is the general trend in our country. This it's almost like our society is gleeful about wickedness, about evil. They seem to think that it's funny, it's cool to be a wicked person. And now they probably think, oh, you Trump supporters are wicked, and that's what they would say. I would strongly disagree with that. I think most Trump supporters voted the way they did because of the pocketbook issues, the cost of housing, the cost of food, and the border situation. Those three things are the reason why the Democrats lost. So it was not a gender thing. It was not a race thing. It was those three issues that cost the Democrats the election. Now, so looking forward to the next 4 years, it looks like we're going to have the House too. So it looks like we'll have all three branches of government, although the House is pretty weak. It's pretty balanced. It's not, it's we probably will have to, getting most of Trump's, some of the more controversial parts of Trump's agenda through the House may be difficult. So what are some things that we can do? And I think probably maybe the best place for them to start, there's number one, in terms of the immigrant situation, I think they start with getting these people out of the country, the ones that are committing other crimes. I mean, certainly crossing the border and staying in the country beyond your allowed time. They act like this is some kind of racial thing. I lived in Spain for 2 years. When I went to live in Europe, I had to get a visa to stay beyond 90 days. Your passport allows you to stay in Spain up to 90 days. If you want to stay longer than that, you have to get a visa. And then once you get to the country, I had paperwork to file for short-term residency, and which allowed me to stay in the country for 2 years. And I did that. If I had not had those documents, what would they have done with me? They would have deported me. Yeah, they act like it's something the United States is just bullying all these people. No, I mean, Europe does the same thing. If you go to Europe and you don't have the paperwork and you overstay your passport or your visa, they will deport you too. But we have tens of millions of them here, so we're not gonna be able to deport them all. Let's just be real. We gotta be a little bit realistic here. We need to focus on the problematic ones. We need to focus on the ones that are here committing other crimes. They need to go. We got enough criminal element here in the United States by ourselves. We don't need more of it. So get rid of them, deport them. We need to get rid of, if they are using the government to live off of, they need to go. I think these people that are just living off the government, they need to go. So that's where I would start. If they're here, even though they've broken the law coming into the country, and they are working and paying taxes and doing everything they're supposed to be doing, perhaps we can, they would be like maybe last on the list to be, it's not as urgent of a need to get, to have them leave. You know what I mean? Because we're going to have to prioritize that, is what I'm saying. We're not going to just take 30 or 40 million people and get them all out of the country all at once. It's going to have to be prioritized and get rid of the most troublesome people first, and then work our way down the list, right? And then, the people that are here that are doing everything else the way they, even though they've broken the law, maybe we can make some kind of arrangement for these people. But I think that, they will need to, be focused on, in 4 years, we're not going to get rid of all these people. So let's focus on getting the criminal element out. That's number one. Number two is the national debt. and I think this is a problem that is becoming urgent. I think they need to audit the entire federal government. They need to go department by department, every single office of the federal government, and get the spending fixed. We've got to make government much smaller and much more efficient. And I'm talking every single part of our federal government. So I think that's something Elon Musk will be helping with. I think that if I was them, I'd be bringing in, internal auditors and just, going through with a fine-tooth comb and taking if it takes 4 years to do it, just going department by department and clearing it out. I would be totally fine with that. I would be totally fine with that. Beyond that, really, I think Trump needs to put into place some protections for free speech online. These liberals are getting kind of nuts with their wanting to control what people can say. That's kind of concerning. That is actually a very big concern. I expect liberals to go after the Second Amendment. I didn't really foresee them going after the First Amendment. That was a bit of a surprise for me. And I know what they're going to say. Oh, these are private platforms. These are companies that provide these platforms. Let's face it. Social media is the modern town square. This is where everyone should be able to express their own ideas. People can disagree and have those disagreements and those debates, and but for me, when you're sitting there trying to shut down voices, when you're trying to cut off people from having a voice, that's a bad sign for you. To me, that would be almost reason enough for me not to vote for you. So I think that's just a deal breaker for me. And that would go either way. Conservatives should not be trying to silence liberals. Liberals should not be trying to silence conservatives. It should go either way. Liberals should be able to say what they want to say. I may, and I probably will, disagree with most of it. I don't disagree with everything that liberals espouse, believe it or not. There are very rarely platform points that I have agreed with the Democrats on. I can give you an example. Social Security. Now, I don't believe Trump is going to cut Social Security. Social Security needs to be fixed. It's going bankrupt. It's been going bankrupt, during Biden's term. It's eventually we're talking like 2034, 2035 that it's going to run out of funds. So there's a few things that could be done, and the Democrats have pointed at the possibility of removing the cap. Right now, the way Social Security is currently set up, only the first 160 or so thousand of income is taxed for Social Security. Any income above $160,000 a year is not taxed for Social Security. So the Democrats have talked about removing that cap, which I agree with, because it fixes about 2/3 of the problem with Social Security. If you remove that cap, it immediately makes Social Security, gives us at least more time to fix the problem, So that would be something to consider. I think the Republicans really need to look back at that, because by removing the cap, all you're really doing is making Social Security tax a flat tax. And I think that's the direction we need to be thinking about. The Republicans have opposed it up to this point. I disagree with them on that. So I can occasionally, on occasion, agree with the Democrats on something. Now, trying to find much else I agree with the Democrats on, it's kind of sparse, I have to admit. But that's at least one thing, right? But we're going to have to get our budget fixed. So I I I am I'm hopeful for the next 4 years, but I would really like to see Americans as a people turn our eyes back toward God. I'm not one to really preach on this because I've had my difficulties with this over the last couple decades. I was a missionary for my church when I was younger, and I did all of that, and then I had some challenges after I came home from my mission. A little bit, I feel a little bit like when Job was tested. Job was tested, and he passed those tests. I feel like I kind of failed on those tests a little bit. I think that for me, I got my feelings hurt. I lost someone that was really special and really important to me, and that really hurt. I became kind of bitter and angry. I don't think I ever really. I think that's a big part of the reason my marriage just didn't work out. I tried to move past it. I just couldn't, and it really kind of messed me up. I don't think a lot of us go through things like that where we get messed up by things. So I'm thinking about this too, picking up my scriptures and beginning to read again, because I haven't really been actively doing that like I should. But I think as a country, maybe we need to make a pledge. Maybe all of us need to pledge to at least, I'm not saying you have to go to a church or anything like that, but say a prayer every day. Pick up and read your Bible, your scriptures, your holy books, and ponder them, pray about them, and let's try to get the old America back. This society, I wish that it could be an instantaneous thing. I feel like I need to go back 100 years or so, but in some ways, but I would like to see our country get some of those principles back. Now, anytime you bring up, I want to go back to the past, our political rivals, y'all want to put y'all want to go back to Jim Crow and all that. No no that's not what I'm talking about. I have no desire to go back to that. I think we've moved past the racial thing. Our political enemies need to let the race thing go. They've used it as a political weapon for decades, and it's gotten old and stale, and it doesn't really work anymore. You had 25% of black men vote for Trump. A majority of Latino men voted for Trump. The race thing is not working anymore. We're not. When we talk about wanting to go back to the past, we are not talking about Jim Crow, okay? We're talking about America that went to church, that prayed together, that 100 years ago, 100 years ago in our schools, the kids were learning Latin and Greek, and now they can barely write English. I don't know what's happened, and then they wonder why we want to get rid of the Department of Education. It's because the Department of Education is not doing its job. Our kids, they can't write anymore. If you look at my daughter is 13 years old. I have a 13-year-old daughter that I love her to pieces, but it's like they're not teaching. It's not her fault. The schools are not teaching kids handwriting anymore. they're doing block letters, and I mean, I'm looking at my 13-year-old daughter's handwriting, and I'm like, this is the writing of a 6-year-old. That's what it looks like. And it's because the schools are not doing anything about trying to teach these kids how to write, how to spell. They're expecting computers and spell checkers and everything to do it for them. This is not good, and this is something we need to fix too. I kind of hope Trump does come in and bulldoze the Department of Education, turn it all back to the states, give it back to the states, let the states handle it. And I think it needs to happen. I see that our education system has done nothing but get worse in the 40, 50, close to 50 years the Department of Education has been around. 45, 50 years. So that's how I feel about it. Anyway, give me your thoughts on this. Leave some comments. This channel's new. I'm still getting myself up off the ground. I think it's important that some of our more mature people have their voices out here. Tell our young people that we love them, we want the best for them. I have 2 daughters, one that's 20 years old, one that's 13 years old. I'm worried about their futures. I want them to live in a country that's going to allow them to prosper and be healthy. And you know, I feel like the last couple of generations have kind of let us down in that regard. So we're going to get this turned around for them, and let's make it happen.